Greetings, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back. It's been a while, about a week or so, since we've met. Um, it's a lot going on in the world right now. I'm gonna wait for everybody to log in and get started. Hi, everyone. Hello. Greetings. Natasha is here. Clarissa in Arizona. JM. Let's say happy Sunday to you too as well, D. Manny's here. So everybody's starting to file in. What's going on, Gail? We got a lot to discuss, bitch. It's a lot going on in the world. First, I want to say I know it's tough dealing with everything that we have going on. I know it's starting to get warm outside here on the East Coast. Yesterday was gorgeous outside. I sat on my front porch. But if you can just try not to gather in large spaces, at least try not to gather in large spaces, that would be great. The sooner we can get rid of this virus, the better. The way it's looking out, summer's already shot to hell anyway. Hey, what's going on, D in Florida? Stephanie in Chicago. Cameo, how are you? D. Yes, it's a lot to unpack, so we're gonna get started shortly. What's going on, Chava? Darlene, as always, my love. So Joe Biden, bitch. Let's just start with the elephant in the room. Here's the thing. Okay, so this is basically what's happening. You have a former staffer by the name of Tara Reid, for those of you who are not familiar with the background. So you have a former staffer by the name of Tara Reid who initially accused Joe Biden of making her feel uncomfortable, inappropriate touching on her shoulder and hair, what have you. Now she's saying that, he pushed her up against the wall and took his finger and inserted it inside of her, personal space. This is a lot. And quite frankly, I'm like tiptoeing over discussing this whole thing because there's so many pieces and this is like worst case scenario. Ever. This is worst case scenario. Joe is flat out denying it. He's flat out saying, hey, I didn't do anything to this lady. I have not done it. A lot of his staffers, well, a couple of his staffers, rather, I should say, have said that, this woman never came to me, about any of this. I'm not sure where this is coming from. It's tough because I always say this, when you are playing the role of the good guy, you cannot do villain shit. And not saying that Joe did it. I'm not saying that he did do it. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. But it's tough to argue this out because on one hand, like somebody brought up, I believe it was, because I check all news, I saw Fox News where they were comparing this to the Brett Kavanaugh situation and things like that. And they were like, well, the Democrats were so gung-ho about believing women with Brett Kavanaugh and all of that. But the difference is Brett Kavanaugh, up until, he was, definitely a public figure, but not to the scope of what Joe Biden is, Also, too, the obvious question is, ma'am, this man was the vice president of the United States for 8 years. Why did you not bring this up, at that time? Why all of a sudden now are we having all of these, allegations, and she has people like her neighbors and things like that who are corroborating her story. A few folks who are corroborating her story. This happened in the 90s. But the thing is, with this, from a political standpoint, this is like a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Because it makes you think about the other candidate options that we had. And I'm going to go on record, and I'm saying this, and I've been very transparent about my process. When it got down to the nitty gritty, it was either you was going to pick Joe or pick Bernie. Joe was winning the delegates at this point. Those first few primary elections kind of set the tone. I mean, at the very least, I don't think we would have had to deal with this type of a scandal with Bernie. I'm going to go on record and say that. I am not a huge Bernie Sanders fan at all, but I'm willing to bet money that we wouldn't have had to worry about this kind of a scandal. But also, too, I deal in reality. And the reality is that Bernie Sanders was not getting enough delegates to win this nomination. That's just a fucking fact. The people was voting for Joe Biden. If it's not one thing, it's another with this Democratic Party. We keep not, as a party, and I'm going to say we because I voted Democrat, so it is what it is. I'm not going to say they because, bitch, I didn't vote independently. I didn't vote as a Republican. I didn't vote as Green Party. I voted as a Democrat. So I have to eat this crow like everybody else that's a Democrat. And this is my opinion based on what's going on here. I think that this shows what happens when you vote and you choose based on what's electable and not who's qualified for the job. Not to say that Joe Biden wasn't qualified for the job, but we put a lot of these other candidates through such a scrutinous purity test that I don't think we put Joe Biden through in the primary, in that when everybody announced them were running before the primaries. We didn't put them through that kind of a test. We didn't put him through that kind of a test like we did a Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren or even a Cory Booker. You know, they were put through rigorous purity and personality tests that I don't personally think were performed with Biden. I think the general consensus was that in the beginning, when everybody announced it was like, oh, Biden's a clear front runner, then they started to taper off. They like his campaigns did. Then when it came time to vote, in those first few primaries, the people in the South, no shade to the people in the South, but y'all voted out unanimously almost for Joe Biden. And a lot of those primaries. So here we are, you know, with Joe Biden at this point. And it goes to show you there's no such thing as anymore as to what's electable or what's electability or who's more of a candidate or who's more, you know, worthy or will do good or look good to America. Because as we're finding out, I think this is what this era and what this generation is being defined by is the curtain being open behind Oz. We're getting behind the curtain for a lot of this shit, and we're seeing that a lot of things are just not the way that they appear. And now we have to deal with this. Now, Stacey Abrams, who I really have a lot of respect for, you know, came out and she said she believes Biden and things like that. And I kind of cringed when she said that, and here's why. Stacey, do not fuck up your shit for Joe Biden. Because guess what, honey? You still have a lot of work to do, and you have a bright future in politics. Don't go off the handles just to appease to Biden and possibly be his running mate. Because if we're being honest, Stacey, there was a time when you were saying you would never be someone's number two. Okay? And that's on record. And now you're considering being the number 2, sis. So you're already kind of doubling back on your statement that you made initially. And, you're doing really good work with, gerrymandering and, voter suppression, things like that. Stay in that lane. Do not rush to save Joe Biden. Okay? I'm going to say that on record. Let his ass drown, Stacey. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I know we go through all of this shit. I sit and go through all of this polling. We watch all of these debates. But the reality is, in America, and we're seeing it now, even more so, white folks is still going to help white folks. And at the end of the day, this election is coming down once again to 2 old-ass white men. Do not insert yourself in that, Stacey. Because when this battle is over and done, guess who is going to be held to a higher standard for the words that she says right now? It's going to be you. And guess what, honey? Unlike how they like to do with these older white candidates and the Hillarys of the world, all these people, I'm being 100% honest. They speak about their records, Joe Biden's records, in context and what was going on. And he's changed. Guess what? And you should have learned this lesson from Kamala Harris. When you vote in context and speak and you change, they're not going to believe you. They're going to hold your feet to the fire for what you say right now. Look at Kamala. She's the prime example. Now, I'm not defending Kamala Harris, but Kamala Harris did not get the benefit of the doubt like some of these other folks. And that's just a fucking fact. I don't care who have a problem with what it is. That's a fact. She did not get the benefit of the doubt. She didn't get the benefit of the doubt from her own people, and the white people left her out to dry. That's just a fucking fact. So, Stacey, my advice to you right now, honey, is to continue doing the good work that you're doing with voter suppression, women's rights, gerrymandering, all of that. Stay in your lane, sis. Do not pull out your pom-poms for a motherfucker that may actually lose. Because you're going to have to still carry this bag when his ass is retired, rich, and minding his motherfucking business. Okay? Now, I see everybody going off in the comments about that. I'm sorry, y'all, but I had to keep it 100. I had to keep it 100, okay? Now, as far as Tara Reid, the accuser, I'm going to say this. It is a valid point that whenever a Republican official, candidate, whatever you want to call it, comes out with a sexual assault scandal, we automatically do, believe the woman. We're like, wow, they're trash. Don't expect for the same thing not to happen to Democratic people, because what's to say just because they're in 2 different parties, that doesn't mean shitty people don't exist in both parties. Okay? Like, it is not lost on me that Joe Biden could be saying slick shit out his mouth. That's not unbelievable to me. Okay? Now, do I think the timing was damning? Absolutely. Do I question some of the details? Because, and this is why I question some of it, because the report that she did, I believe in 2019, was just, oh, he made me uncomfortable. Okay? And at that time, it's like, okay, he made me uncomfortable. Now it's going from he made me uncomfortable with the shoulder touch to, oh, he backed me up against the wall and he stuck his finger in my vagina. Sorry, but that's what happened. So now I'm like, well, sis, which one was it? Okay? Now I'm questioning the validity of your story, because your story is not the same every time. It's deviating. So it's not that I'm tiptoeing around this a little bit, because it's not that I don't want to believe women, because I do believe women. I do believe, as a minority in the workplace myself, and even some of the stuff that I'm going through at this time right now, I totally understand. But sis, Like, the story is not the same. You telling two different stories, sis. Now, either he assaulted you or he made you uncomfortable. Or he could have done both. Both things could have happened. But you're like, come on. And the thing that makes me look at the whole sexual assault accusations and things like that in general, we do want to believe these allegations. We don't want to dismiss them. That's not what I'm advocating at all here. But we do need to research them in depth, okay? Because Aziz Ansari, and I'm going to use this as an example, there was a whole article, I forget the publication, and this was when Aziz was hot. And the writer wrote this salacious article about how Aziz, kind of making it seem like he has sexually assaulted the lady. And when you read the article and everything that the victim said, it didn't read as sexual assault. And then come to find out, as shit goes on, the story gets bigger, the lady says, well, really, he didn't, and it's just like, you almost damaged that man's career. And we haven't seen Aziz Ansari since. And I love Master of None. But that man's career was getting ready to be damaged over a narrative that wasn't even fucking true. Okay? So, I'm just saying this. We need to, and I'm gonna say something real blunt and real direct, because I was told I was abrupt recently, because I'm direct. We automatically have to believe these stories without investigation when it comes to sexual assault and these public figures, but we don't automatically believe the stories of black people getting killed on public television, on camera. We have to have context for that. That has to be investigated. That has to be vetted, and that's on camera. But when it comes to these sexual assault allegations from white women, okay, I'm being honest here, automatically it's in the news. We have to follow everything about it. Okay? We automatically have to follow everything about it. But you can kill a black man on television or live TV, and it has to be investigated. It has to be vetted. You can't even jog in peace in your own neighborhood. You can get ran down and killed for jogging, and there won't be an arrest. And I think that we have to look at things in concept, not in concept, but look at things in context. I'm sorry. We have to look at things in context and say, America, what's what? We have to be consistent here. Because right now we're not being consistent with how we deal with things and how justice is served in this country, which is why people are getting so aggravated. Just like with these incidents with people violating the stay-at-home orders or the shelter-in-place orders in New York. You had a bunch of Hasidic Jews come out and, they were clearly violating the order for this funeral. New York police comes and just calmly disperses the crowd. No problems. Black folks have a house party, this is in New York, or a gathering. They getting arrested on camera. All kinds of foolishness. America is not consistent with its scales of justice. And that is why there is so much unrest and we're having so many issues. Okay? And I think that we have to look at how things are done. You know what I'm saying? And be honest with ourselves. Be honest with ourselves and how we do things. You know what I'm saying? How things are viewed. And I'm looking at so many things, you know, like the story I was just talking about with Ahmaud Arbery. Okay, Ahmaud Arbery, black man, not a troublemaker. I'm so glad they didn't use the picture of him out hanging out with his friends or having a drink or a cocktail. They used his senior portrait to at least make him look like a human being that he is, thank God. Out jogging in peace. And he gets ran down by two white men because they think that he's a burglary suspect. Whole time he just minding his business jogging. We're just getting pressed on that, you know. So I think that we need to be mindful of that. With Joe, he has a lot of PR to do. It's going to be an uphill battle for him. I'm still going to vote for Joe Biden no matter what. That's just the bottom line on my end. Of course, you have to make your own, you know, decision. But I feel like definitely, I don't disbelieve the lady in regards to Joe Biden. I can see it happening, but I do have questions. Now, as far as COVID-19 is concerned, it's starting to get warm here on the East Coast. And this is where it gets tough. The whole stay at home, wear your mask, don't go outside. This is where it gets tough because, you know, I've seen photos of people in D.C. on the National Mall, people in different places congregating, you know, with no regard to the virus and things like that. And the government will have to make a decision, whether it's the state governments or the local governments. Okay? We have to decide if we're really going to help our businesses or help our people or the individual, the everyday man, individual citizen, or are we just going to stop fronting and admit that America is a country that thrives on commerce? It's all about the money. And yes, this virus is a thing, but we're going to disregard it and open back up because we need our fucking money. Okay? Because it's so many inconsistencies, and it starts from the top down. It starts from the president. That's just a fact. The governors, I think, have been doing a fantastic job. The mayors, for the most part, have been doing a fantastic job. Lori Lightfoot, I think, is using social media in such a smart way. Such a smart way. Now, I can't speak to what else she's doing as the mayor in Chicago, but I'll say this. She really is utilizing social media and really becoming immersed. She is learning. She is probably one of the chief Democrats who understands how to use social media effectively. Donald Trump is good at using social media effectively. Lori Lightfoot understands, she really gets how to use social media. And that's something that I think every Democrat around this country needs to be watching. Because she is killing it right now. Now, the governors, you know, my governor, Larry Hogan, kudos to him, and his wife for killing it, getting getting the testing kits and shit and all that, got the National Guard. He doing what he's supposed to do with that. We got some other issues with Larry on a local and state level, but right now he's handling this crisis relatively well. Outstanding job. Cuomo's doing an outstanding job. I don't believe that you cleaning all the subways, Cuomo. I saw that footage of you spraying the subways down. It was a good PR move, but I think it was a little bit heavy-handed. Says she didn't have to actually go on the train and spray it because it's just not believable to a lot of the public. But it's cute. I think that we need to kind of reassess where we're at with this COVID situation and who we are post-COVID. You understand what I'm saying? Like, post-COVID, who are we? Are we more stressed? Are we going to therapy? Okay? How is it teleworking a month or two later? Is your communication good with your coworkers? Are things getting misinterpreted? Because, see, things can get misinterpreted over the Skype meeting or the phone call. Okay? Is this real? Are you stressed? How is that? How is this impacting our lives? And who are we after this? Okay? That's the question. What does life look like after this? I posted on my page, on my Facebook page, I said, what are you planning to do? What life changes are you going to be making when this is all over? I know me personally, I will be leaving Baltimore City. That's just a fact. I've done everything that I can here. I've been saying I'm going to leave for years, but you know how when you finally get that spirit in you and you finally get that clarity, and it's like, yeah, it's time for you to go. So I know what I'm going to be doing. But I think that's a question as Americans and as global citizens. We need to be asking ourselves, what do our relationships look like? What does my marriage look like post-COVID? Because now you've been forced to sit in a house with a person who you may have been able to dodge or not have to see as intensely because of work, other activities, things like that. Now you're forced to really sit and say, is this relationship still serving me? And I know I'm speaking to somebody right now. Is the relationship that I'm in right now, be it a marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, is it still serving me? For my single folks, my people who like to live in seclusion, is my seclusion healthy for me? Okay? Is my relationships with my family as strong? Are they as strong as I thought they were? Okay? Was that beef with my mom or that beef with my cousin, was it that serious now that I've had to sit in the effects of my exclusivity? Somebody said I'm preaching tonight. We all have to face this. And this is why I came on tonight. I came on, we know the facts, we watch the news, we share the articles, we know what's going on. That's not what you come to me for. You come for me to break it down for you. Okay? Is this job serving me? Because now, working from home, there's no more distractions. You can't see that person in the office that makes your day go by a little bit better, or that you could key and vent to about your supervisor. Or that coworker at lunch that just makes your day go by that much better. Is this job, is this career, is it still serving me now that I have had to sit with it in my own home? Thankful that I can work from home. Okay? Thankful. First off, thankful that I'm still getting a check. But is it serving me? When I started this gig 6 years ago, because I was living foot to mouth, now I'm comfortable. I got all the channels on the cable. I got the flat screen TV, 4K HD. I could go out to eat 3-4 times a week. Got my savings, 401k, that's all nice. But is this what I started out doing? Or am I just living a safe life? Am I surviving or am I living? Okay? Am I surviving or am I living? This job is making me live, like survive well. But am I happy? Am I truly happy inside? Okay? And if you're not happy, now is the time to say, well, shit. I'm 35, bitch. Realistically, I only got maybe another 25 years left to really get it in before my bones start failing on me. 25 years and 35, let's say if you're 35, 25 years, that bring you to 40, another 10, that bring you to 50, another 10, that bring you to 60. This is the time where you have a real conversation with yourself. And when you have that real conversation with yourself, Make the pivot, make the adjustment. Because guess what? You know one thing that I've learned, and I've always worked and I wanted to be in entertainment, but I'm like, no, I need a job first in this city. I can't go to New York I have to have this. That's keeping. I can't go to LA and do that. I can't. There's never going to be a fucking right time. Trust me, I know. There's never going to be a right time. You have to make the right time. And trust in whatever you believe in, whatever God you serve. That will get you and help you survive. Because guess what? You're smarter. You're wiser now. And people have done it before you. They've been doing it for years. So what makes you think that you can't do it? Now, everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not going to be a business owner. Everybody is not going to be a star. But what is a star? What is that? What does that mean to you? You could be a star in your personal life. You could be a star in whatever job you work that is serving you. You could be. It's nothing wrong with being a star and being an employee. Okay? Somebody's got to be support. And that may be your calling. You may be the baddest bitch in the support game. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that as a society, we've made it bad to be a helping hand. But if everybody is the shield, okay? If everybody is the shield, who's going to be the sword? Because guess what? The shield block. The shield is the first thing that you see, but the sword is what delivered the death blow. Captain America's shield looked nice, but that's just to protect him from the punch he got to throw. Somebody hear me tonight. I didn't mean to have church. I didn't. But it came on my spirit. Okay? Somebody got to be the motherfucking sword. That's all I'm saying. I mean to go there, y'all. But it was on my heart because I'm going to be honest with you. I am at a place in my life where I'm in a place of huge transition, guys. And I am terrified out of my mind. And I've always been scared. I know I seem like the most fearless person in the world a lot of the times. But I am terrified. But I can't be ruled by my fear. I just can't. I can't be ruled by it. Because you'll wake up. I'm going to tell you a story and then we're going to get into these killer hornets. I woke up this morning. Okay? And I found that I was sleeping a lot. I found that my windows were closed. They weren't open. I wasn't digesting in fresh air. And I found that I had been living in such a routine that my routine had become a prison. But because the prison looked so nice, the prison had all the amenities, I didn't realize that my routine was my prison. And that I truly wasn't living up to the potential that I have. So then I have to say, well, Emmanuel, you went to sleep, you woke up, and it was 6 years later. In those 6 years, you have done nothing but survive. You haven't lived in 6 years. And I think about before, because we're so ruled by money and where things are going to come from. I think about those years before, the past 6. And I truly was living. I may not have been in the best financial space ever, but my life meant something to me. I was making real impact and real change. And then I got tired of struggling. And I went and I got me a gig. It took me forever to get that gig, but I went and got me a gig. And after struggling for so long, the illusion of security of this gig put me in prison. And I say illusion of security because a job can fire you at any time, union or not. And this coronavirus reinforced that for me. It really gave me a shock to the system to see businesses close permanently and people lose their jobs after being so loyal to companies for so many years. And I'm looking at myself in this prison thinking that the prison was going to help me, not knowing that at any time the prison could kill me. But I'm going to leave that there. Let's get back on track. I did not mean for this to be a life meeting. I'm sorry, guys. But, these killer hornets, bitch. So, in addition to the year in hell that we've been having, I mean, because it's May at this point, now we got these killer hornets that's getting ready. Well, they're officially called murder hornets that are coming. Okay. So with these murder hornets, they're showing up in the Pacific Northwest. So this is in my region where I live currently. The predators kill, these hornets are known to kill between 40 and 50 people a year in Japan. Okay. So, yeah. These hornets also, too, rare complications include localized necrosis. That's where the blood stops flowing to certain parts of your body, so it may cut off the blood flow to your feet or your arms or whatever. So localized necrosis, respiratory failure, kidney failure, liver damage, and blood clots. I mean, goddamn. Really? I can't. I just can't. I don't know how many people read the Bible, but I swear this is giving the seventh seal tease. This is giving Book of Revelation tease. Okay? Like, it's just too much. It's just too much going on. So in addition to us being locked in our house, now, when we all finally able to go outside, bitch, watch out for the hornets, bitch. And they could devastate the honeybee population. So it's like, goddamn. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Okay? It's just too much. So you got the killer hornets, bitch. Be on the lookout. We'll be watching this as it develops. This is, whatever. Then we got Kim Jong-un. Okay. So, Kim Jong-un had been, we hadn't seen him in like 20-some days. Everybody's like, oh, bitch, he did. But, no, he can't be dead. Supervillains never die like that easily. So, he done resurfaced. Okay. So, he resurfaces, and now North Korea is firing at South Korea in the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. So, you have the DMZ, which sits in, it's like this border, it's like Switzerland. It's like this area between North Korea and South Korea, okay? North Korea done started firing. They didn't exchange fire, I feel like this. Kim Jong-un, if you was on vacation, go back on your cruise, sis. Okay? Nobody wants to deal with the bullshit. We just don't need a war of any kind at this time. Okay? Now, my thing is did he really reappear, bitch? Because their technology off the chain, bitch. Is it a hologram? Was it really him? Was it a stand-in? Like what? But he's allegedly still alive, so we want to see. But I think that it is interesting seeing how these things pan out. I think as far as our own, government, it's shitty. And that's why I haven't been doing as many reports, because it's like, it's shitty. Like, what else you want me to report on? It's shitty. Every day it's shitty. What else is there to say? Your president's a fucking whack job. So it's interesting how all this is going together. But I say that to say this. We will get through it because we have no choice. People have survived worse with less. I think that we are at a time in history, unfortunately, where we were born at the end of an empire. And I'm not saying that, I don't want to be like this doomsday person, but, the United States has a lot of things wrong with it that it was able to mask and muffle. But what the internet did, because the internet made it almost impossible to stop talking about the problem. You see, the difference is now, in a 24-hour news cycle or 24-hour internet, while there is some disinformation and opinions, and that's another thing too, people are allowed to have their opinions. Whether you agree with them or not doesn't make their opinion false. That's what they believe. Okay? We can't tell people what they should believe or how they should feel. I'm not an advocate on that at all. But now with the internet, you can't run from the conversation. The internet makes you accountable for your past in more ways than one. And I think that with that being said, the United States has a past and a reputation that puts it at a deficit for redemption. Yeah. So we have to decide. You know what this feels like? Being a United States citizen feels like being a housewife whose husband has been cheating on her for 20 years. And he had a kid outside of the marriage, and you now have to decide if you want to stay with him because you've been with him for all of this time, or if you want to leave and start some new shit and reclaim who you are. That's what it's like right now. I just ask that people, and I think that we as people, we can get through it. We will need each other. And I would say at the very least, hear each other out. Let's not be so quick to shut people out. Okay? And really hear what we have to say, because when the communication stops, the chaos begins. Somebody said to throw shit on the line. But I think that that's where we are as a country. But with that being said, I've enjoyed our time together tonight. It's been a while. I want to read again. I ordered a new book. I want to read a few chapters of Rick James this week. But I also got a new book by a great new author that I'm excited about, that I think you'll like. Also, too, I started watching Ryan Murphy's new show, Hollywood, on Netflix, and I'm absolutely in love. I'm on episode 3, and it's getting ready to get real messy. But if you need services or assistance, if you need therapy, please reach out to the appropriate sources. I know me personally, I have started the process of getting teletherapy, so I highly recommend it to anyone who may need it. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed the meeting. I'm getting a lot of great feedback. My hair, I'm purposely growing my hair, so you're going to be seeing all of these colorful, shiny, holographic do-rags. I hope y'all like them. This is Black excellence at its best. But you guys, you have a great week. I'm going to be watching that Michael Jordan documentary again, The Last Dance, bitch, because it's giving me life. I live for a Dennis Rodman moment. But y'all be safe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click the bell at the top for notifications and to subscribe if you haven't already. With that being said, you have a great evening, guys. It was a joy talking to you. Thank you for letting me vent. And you have a great evening.